for kids.
There's something to be said about that. Yeah, like for sure. It's a weird thing.
If you're upset that your $800 in value went like to worthless overnight, like then maybe you should like reevaluate like why you have $800 in paper
Yeah,
cards.
yeah. Well,
And like I've been saying this for a year. If you're not okay with your cards being absolutely like your cards aren't actually worth anything. It's a sunk cost.
yeah. I mean, it's I'm a firm believer of never selling. So, like, let me grab. I gotta grab something real quick. All right. Ready for the countdown? 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1.
Not really. I wanted to shower and like all that shit, but like I didn't know the podcast was today, so
We
it
can
is.
make it quick. Well,
Okay,
I
we're
mean,
doing it live.
fuck it. All right.
I don't have any makeup on.
Yeah, you'll be all right. You are listening to episode 169 of Paper Player, and I'm your host, Tony, joined with Josh and JB, who knows if he's coming, and Clipple, or I should just say, this is the first time I ever said his last name on this podcast. But Jeff, he might show up at some point. I know he's running a little late, but I mean, me and Josh are the only guys that really matter in this podcast, so we're just going to go from there.
Right? That's
Yeah.
why we're the ones that are going to Vegas.
Oh, yeah. And before all this is said and done, I just would like to, actually, before we get into today's topics, just go ahead and connect with us on our socials. The best way to do that is go to our link tree. You'll see all different ways to connect with us. The best way is probably Facebook, a little bit of dabbling here and there on Twitter. And then if you want more content, just follow the channel in every different facet. So bada boom, bada bing. All right. Today we have the Magic Roundtable. We have CS in Vegas, the Commander bands, which is probably going to be 80% of this podcast today, just because it is such a big deal. And then lastly, we'll kind of hit up Marvel, because those leaks, they look too good to not be real, but I don't know. We'll see, especially because there's something slated for Magic / Marvel at New York Comic Con in a week and a half from now. So,
And like those, there's more. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
yeah. All right. So, Josh, you need Magic?
I sure did.
Oh, yeah, dude. Did you play Commander on Sunday and Wednesday? And you'd have to rush
There
back
was
home?
no the So what happened on Wednesday? There was a reason why I didn't play Commander on Wednesday. What was going on? Something I don't. I There was a reason why I didn't play Commander on Wednesday, but this weekend was the pre-release, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's right.
What was going on? I played in the pre-release on Friday, and I went my pool. I open so everyone knows how a pre-release pool works, right? You get
Yeah.
6 packs in a promo.
Mm-hmm.
In my 6 packs, I opened 3 ley lines.
Oh,
So
dude, that's really
I had
brutal.
so I would have rather have opened 3 lands, to be honest.
Yeah, then at least you could play those. You
But,
would have been good to go. But instead, you
right.
opened up
But
ley
like 3
lines.
unplayable rares or whatever.
That shit
So
sucks.
I didn't win a game until the last round. All right, so hang on, like game 1, round 1. The guy goes like turn 3 red Inferno over Titan thing, the red
Oh, yeah, yeah.
impending dude, and then like proceeds to like kill me in 2 turns. Like I just scoop it. I was like the game was over. And then in game like 2 or whatever, on his turn 3, he plays the white Titan or the green Titan. I was like, Jesus Christ. So
yeah.
yeah, red Titan, green Titan. It did not feel. It was not fun. And then Friday, I worked behind the counter at the Mana Vault and watched them pack war away a lot of their Mystery 2 boosters, which was a
Oh, dude,
lot
that
of
seems
fun.
fun. Hell yeah, dude.
Yep. They have a bunch of Mystery 2 boosters left. They still have like 15 boxes left, but they're saving them for drafts. They
That's
want
pretty
to be
sick.
able to have a no cap draft event. So keep an eye out for that. And then with after for working the night or whatever, I got No, I traded for cards. I traded for cards for decks, whatever that I put. I got an Ayavugan for my Eldrazi deck.
Oh, nice, dude.
And then I guess like once we talk about the bannings, I'll talk about what other things I did. And then I played Magic with Jim. So I did a second pre-release with like pre-release kind of with Jim, where it's like we start with like 6 packs and then we open our box and play with our box sealed.
Hmm.
And I have the roller coaster ride, and then Jim can't beat that card. And he does a very good job or whatever. He gets close with like there's some demon spell or
Yeah.
demon card that he got out of his uh collector pack. It's like a commander demon card.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, the roller coaster ride is really good.
Yeah, that card blew me out. I've done. I guess the only Magic I really played since it's been live on Arena. I have been playing it like I've done 9 drafts so far. Just because I
Damn.
like this format, and every single time, just by chance, it's just been I've had a different archetype, and my favorite archetype so far is the blue red rooms deck. I didn't think it was gonna be viable, but I was like, fuck it, we'll just go for it. And that deck felt so like it felt like so much fun because there's this room that it has an ability that at the beginning of your first main phase, you add 2 red or sorry, you add red to your pool, and you can only spend this on enchantments or rooms or unlocking rooms, and that is like the key to making that happen because then all your rooms become like 2 lives every turn to unlock, so you're like doubling up on all these effects. That felt like it was a really fun deck, and yeah, I enjoyed that deck a lot. The favorite deck so far has been the Golgari, just because it's easy. It's just Delirium, and because there's so many artifact creatures, enchantment creatures, like once one of those dies, you've already hit Delirium right away. And then Manifest Red actually plays really well in the format.
I like the piggy bank. I thought the piggy bank was
Yep, the
really
three
good
two.
for
Yep, that card's great.
the
Yeah,
delirium.
but I've done the toys deck, which you have to have the uncommon legendary just because that's like the best way to close out a game entirely. That deck is really prone to pyroclasm, but when you're playing best of one, nobody really is main decking at pyroclasm. The only deck I haven't tried yet has been the green white survivor deck. I have yet to find that deck, but I've played blue black. I've played um, blue white. Blue white was something I didn't really like. I thought it was gonna be a lot better. It just felt kind of bad. Like it didn't feel good. I was like, all the other decks are doing so much stuff with like Manifest Red, so you're churning through your deck really quickly. And the blue white deck was just like, well, play enchantment. I had that 4/3 flash, enduring the cure, the card that whenever you deal damage, draw a card. So if you hit with 3 creatures, you draw 3 cards. Um, that
This
was like,
hand that's in here.
yeah. It was one of those glimmers, the cat glimmer, the blue 2. It's a 4/3 with flash.
Oh, enduring curiosity,
Yeah, that card's legit. Like that's
the
a
blue one.
yeah that thing is like that's gonna be there's a good amount of cards from this set that are like you should pick these up for EDH just because they're great. So, um, but yeah, that was the Magic I've been just playing. I played one sealed in my sealed pool. Very similar to yours. I had 2 ley lines and 2 lands. I had one playable rare, which was the 4/3 green guy survival. Put a creature from your hand out of the battlefield, and then I had just to try to beat people with throwing in there's like a white black 3 creature that's a 5/5 death toucher. Whenever it enters or attacks, you target opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life, and you draw a card. So like that card's like a little tiny titan. So I had 2 of those, and I was just if
Teeny
I
tiny
was able to
tiny.
get if I was able to get it off, I won, and it was not a lot of the games just because yeah. But no, I guess this is official. What I have on the screen here is the world's largest pack war, and yes, this is version 2.0. We're trying this again.
We doing it, boys and
Yeah,
girls. It's official this time.
yeah, we're trying this again. So what we're going to be doing is the Creator Center, the Creator Central, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday at MagicCon Vegas. We're going to be playing a world's largest pack war, and I'm going to make a more detailed video of the actual breakdown of the entire thing. Here, 1 second, my daughter just ran downstairs.
I want to take this time to congratulate Tony and really give Tony or congratulate Tony for showing and displaying perseverance and like dedication for making this happen, making this Pack War 2 happen after like being completely shut down, essentially escorted off of the premises back in Chicago, and doing it the correct way, putting in the groundwork to make this actually come together and come to fruition. I'm excited to see this happen. I'm excited for everyone to be a part of it, and I'm excited for Tony to smile and see all this happen. And I'm excited for Tony to like hear me say this behind his back. So, thank you all for listening to us and like getting us to this stage so that we can have this happen. Thank you all for supporting us and this is something we've come a long way since where we started. This is something none of us thought we would get this far, and to get to the the big stage here in like MagicCon Vegas and have like a dedicated time slot to make this happen. And we're on Wizards' actual like MagicCon webpage. There's a picture of me on Wizards' webpage, and this is all thanks to Tony. And I
Oh,
want to
thanks,
thank him
homie.
for putting the hard work in. Hey, he's back.
Yeah, just like that. But yeah, I miss what you said, Josh. But or thanks, Tony. That's the one thing that matters the most to me. No, I'm very excited for this. For real, it's surreal in the sense of where we were a couple of years ago. From starting this podcast and just kind of throwing our name out there and just as much as we could, and being consistent and just producing a podcast that I'm happy with. I like you guys, and I'm glad that you and I are going to be out here to do this. Once I get the exact details, I'll have a video put up of what that's going to look like, and it's free. It's first come, first serve. There's no entry fee to be it, so if you're
It's
just in that
free,
area,
Leanne.
yeah,
That's even the best part. It's
yeah,
free,
cost nothing.
ladies and gentlemen, all of you listening. It's
Yeah,
free. Get in there early.
yeah, come in,
Wizards is
play.
giving you free booster packs.
Yeah, so the idea is you'll play with a play booster. You get to keep that play booster, and if you have the qualifying things that progress you to the top four, those top four will each get a commander deck of one of the four Duskmourn commander decks, and then you will be proceeded to the final round. The final round will be played with the collector booster. You get to keep that collector booster, and if you win with the collector booster round with the 12 finalists, because there's going to be a total of 3 preliminary heats, you will then win a collector booster of Duskmourn. So again, this costs $0, and you just show up and play. It'll be fun. We're gonna have a giant D20, a deck of many things, all sorts of stuff, and it'll be a blast. So just come on by from 11 to 2. And the best part is it doesn't have to take up all your day. If you end up getting eliminated right away, no problem. You get a play booster and move on with your day. But if you get the chance to win more, you'll be there. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Hey Tony, can we get some like screen printed T-shirts, like just some white screen printed T-shirts with our logo on it in like 10 days? Because I have a tie-dye event at work or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to get some tie-dye shirts to give those away to the 12 finalists too, and more free stuff. Let's give them away.
Hell yeah, dude. And I got pins to give away. I got playmats to give away. We got all sorts of stuff.
We got giveaways. Come see us in Vegas.
Dude,
make the trip. It's worth it. Come to Vegas. Play Magic all weekend.
Enjoy Vegas with your friends.
Bring your significant other. It'll be a great time.
Hell yeah, dude. But I'm excited. Yeah, it's just cool that it's actually on the, you can go see this on the Wizards page, and it's pretty preliminary information, but overall I think it's gonna be a blast. But yeah. All right, now into a darker topic and kind of where the internet has been, like the Magic universe has been talking about. So before these bannings, there was like a little bit of a Marvel thing that got stepped up that was kind of eating up our attention. But then the big ban hammer on Monday happened, which banned these 4 cards: Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, Dockside Extortionist, and Nadu Winged Wisdom. Yeah, these are. Mana Crypt's been in the format since the inception, right? It's been there since EDH, since 2008 to 2009, the beginning of it. These other 3 cards that were banned, 2 of them were designed specifically. Well, I should refrain from that. 3 of them were designed specifically for Commander, and yeah, so not great. The internet's been upset, but we'll talk about the before and after values, and this is probably why a lot of people are upset. So if you were to if owned a Mana Crypt, these were the sale prices on TCG Player for a going Mana Crypt, which is about 180 to 200 in that range for the cheapest version of an Eternal Masters Mana Crypt. And then after the announcement, you can now pick one up for about $73 to $80. $99 still kind of high, but still that's a I mean, that's your value of mana crypts are cut in half. The mana crypts that are sitting in probably your trade binder, if you were going to use that for trade fodder, good luck, because there's not really a home for mana crypt. The other values that we lost here was Jeweled Lotus before the banning was about roughly
Oh
$100.
man,
We'll call it a 90. This one went down to somebody sold one for $28, another one sold for 25, another one sold for 30. So that one dropped pretty significantly
this is
too.
like a real. This card is absolutely worthless. I think $20 is still too high for that card.
Yeah, exactly. It's you
Yeah,
can
hang
play
on
it.
for that variant of it. If you have like the pimp version of it and it's
Yeah,
in good condition and you brick it and turn it into a collector item, then yes, then you'll probably be fine.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this version is worthless.
It took a big old dump.
The normal version.
Dockside was at about $70 to $80. It was like the going rate. That card has had like 4 or 5 reprints now.
Yeah,
Or sorry,
this card's not worth anything. None of the
yeah,
printings, even if you have the fancy one, none of those
yeah.
are worth anything.
It's
This
about a good
card's
twenty
garbage.
dollars. So the cheapest one you can get is like $19-$20. So again,
And
$80 down to
what do you even
$20.
want it for?
Yeah.
It's not playable in anything.
So I'm
No
not throwing up
thing.
the Nadu numbers just because Nadu was $1 pre and after, and also like
Right.
that wasn't a card that people were like. I got some things to show you, so you'll be interested to see. All right,
I
so
bought my mana crypt off of Clipple for $110 back
yeah,
when Nixon came out.
yeah,
And about 6 weeks ago, like in our chat, there's even me talking about should I sell my mana crypt? Should I sell my mana crypt to get the underground sea I wanted? And then instead, I like gutted my binder to like not sell my mana crypt,
yeah.
and I didn't. But I sold my mana crypt yesterday for $110. So I came out, I came out. I lost shipping on the mana crypt. So
Yeah, I think at least the only caveat to a mana crypt is it is cube worthy for vintage cubes. I mean, you can put it in really any other cube. It's a somewhat playable card.
not
Whereas like,
mine.
yeah, Jeweled Lotus is really just made for commander cubes, and I don't think those are very popular. I don't know if you have
Is
ever
there
done
a
a command.
commander cube? I don't think it's it. I don't think it's worth it.
No, it's. I mean, even if it was like, I've played commander cube one time. It's a lot of drafting, and then it's like worse than precon because you don't really to make a cube you have to have things be generally good. You can't really go into like a theme. You can try, but like if you're like green white and you're trying to be a +1/+1 and you just get a bunch of cultivates, like your deck's not very good. So
Right.
um so I have on the screen a little bit of a community outcry. So this was all like posted after this, but Josh Lee Kwai, which is he from the command zone? I think so, or whatever that commander is. Anyways, he's one of the most
He's on the commander advisory group.
was. We'll get that. We'll
Was
get to that too. Um, so he
at this
posted.
point in time he was on the commander advisory group.
Mhm. So he posted overall. Do you think this was good or bad? It had a total of 19 votes, and it's literally split down the middle, 50-50 of
How does it? How does 19 get split in half evenly?
19,000.
Oh, okay.
No,
I
19,000
heard
votes.
19. I was like, how does 19 get
No,
split
no.
evenly?
So yeah, I'm rounding up. It's 18,934 votes, and this is when he posted it. And that's when I took the screenshot of it. So it had a total of 19,000 votes that were split 50-50, good and bad. Yep. And the people I think that think it's good, I don't know. I want to say it's purely anti-proxy players, or sorry, pro-proxy players that are saying it's good. And then anti-proxy players, the people who have,
I don't really care.
I know,
I think it's good, right?
yeah,
Hang on. Where do I fall? Like I'm obviously pro proxy, but I also like had the cards.
yeah.
I only proxy to like playtest.
Oh yeah. So there's like it's a weird avenue, which we'll go to there's a section we'll talk about later about like principles and kind of the idea of like what commander is and what the guidelines are. Like where are we on this? And if they're able to hit these cards, what future do you have of other cards that are salty, if you will? So other things that happened. So Tolarian Community College. So the professor came out in response to the banning of these cards. Olivia, who is part of the actual rules committee, has just been completely lit up. from a lot of probably getting a lot of hate from people who own these cards who have stock. I mean, how many photos are out there of people saying like literally showing like 11 mana crypts being pulled out of decks? They're like, I just lost all this value and all this stuff. It's I know it has a value, and I'm actually happy that you were able to sell yours for 110, Josh, just because like
I said it like it's in
yeah
the. It's funny if you go in the chat and like I think someone put. I think even made it even be me that posted a screenshot of it where it's like, I think that if I lost my mana crypt right now, I can
yeah
get my money back.
yeah like
And
exactly, and
then
you moved it,
I did
so
it, and then I did it, and then literally like 6 minutes later, it's sold.
yep. So she was actually against the bans. Olivia was, and they actually coming out and saying like she didn't want these cards to be banned, but they did, and essentially she's getting a ungodly amount of hate because people are upset. You affected people's wallets, and I know you said it earlier in the cast, Josh, that this is a card game. This shouldn't be your life savings, and if this is, I mean, some people do treat it that way. I've seen people sell their collection to make down payments on houses, which is an absurd thing to say, but I've
Right.
seen people do that.
It's like it's something. It's like a dream that can happen. Yes, but
Yes.
it's like not something you should plan on it happening. It's not
Yeah.
something you should like bank on happening. It's
Mm-mm.
and then, like when you buy your magic cards, you should assume it's a sunk cost.
Yep. And then
You should assume you're never gonna get any money back when you buy a magic card.
yeah, I mean, that's been my sole philosophy.
And
It's
if you do, it's a bonus.
yeah, my magic collection. I use magic cards to get more magic cards, and that's about it. Like I don't, I
I
it's
try to do that most of the time, but
yeah, that's always worked
sometimes
for me. It's I've never
right.
tried to do it the other way, where it's like I try to like sell, make like like drop $5 grand on something. I just have never done that. But Jim,
This
who's also
first
part of the
sleeve was all played with this. My first tattoo sleeve was all paid with magic cards, not the
yeah, I
other
mean,
one. So
you utilize it for something, and I don't know what the going rate of a tattoo is, but I can't imagine like a tattoo exceeds a
it's definitely doubled since like I started.
really okay. So I was gonna I don't know what a number of like a going rate for a tattoo is. I would assume it's anywhere from
Well,
like
like everything, the entire economy is double. My tattoos are like $200 an hour.
oh shit, that's I mean, all right, that's pretty, especially because I know you get full sleeves.
And my
So
tattoos are like I also go to like one of the best artists in the
yeah,
city, in my opinion. So
yeah. So again, if you're able to put that into something that you love, then that's perfect. And that's what most people typically do. But I mean, if I'll ask you this question, what do you think the average player's collection's worth?
the average player,
Yeah.
500 bucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say give or take 1,000. I would assume, like I would say just under $1,000. Like if you started
I
living
think
a
there's a lot
yeah
more. I think there's a lot more 500. I think there's a lot more like lower, like a lot of like collections that are just like I played for like 6 months and that was it.
yeah fair enough. And those are like that yeah. If you played for
It's
like a
like
year plus, you probably have
I
like a
bought like
yeah
a couple fat packs or whatever of
yeah
3 sets, and that was my collection. I think
yeah.
there's a lot of that.
And so many players when they crack open the chase thing from the set, I mean they're so fast to move it. They're like, I got to get rid of this now. I have no desire for this. My decks are worth $100 a pop. This card's worth 200. I'm getting rid of this. Like all the people that
Hmm.
opened up the mana crypts from Ixalan or Caverns of Lost or Lost Caverns of Ixalan, probably just like 80% of those people probably just shipped them immediately. Like, yep, this is worth $400. Yeah, see ya. So, um, it's just another member of that rules committee, just in Olivia's favor in the sense of she was the voice in the room saying like she does not want this ban to go forward. So, and then Josh Lee Kwai, he had a statement regarding his resignation from the Commander Advisory Group. Effective immediately, I'm resigning from the Commander Advisory Group. I think so. One of the things that's kind of weird here is he also states that he was blindsided by this. So they did not reach out to him if he's on this. I mean, this guy's huge
Yeah,
for
if you,
Commander.
you do like dig into that, it's like fucked up kind of if you think about it.
Yeah, that he
That
was. I mean, it's probably for his best interest because if he knew that this was gonna
the rules
happen, like
committee doesn't trust anyone, and
yeah,
like if the rules committee doesn't trust anyone, then why do you even want to? Why do we even like have a rules committee
right.
if
It's
there's
actually
no
pretty strange.
trust at all?
Yeah, for sure. It's really strange.
It
But
is extremely strange.
yeah. So He
And you
yeah.
know what it is because because what we were just talking about is because there's money involved.
Yeah, it's a huge. I mean, we're talking if you add just those three cards alone, those three, there's like $600 in cards between. Well, let's just say $400 in cards right there, and those went up in flames. And I use flames as like a like your value went
You're not
way
wrong to
down.
use that language.
Yeah. So yeah, so if he was not blind, I mean, they probably kept him out of it in the dark for it because he has a podcast. They also have
Right.
an entire YouTube channel. I mean, how these guys he plays Magic with Post Malone, So
Right.
if he's not being brought into the decision, why is anybody else is so yeah, so he resigned. Um, and this is where I have on the screen here their philosophy of why these things got banned, and one of the things was Mana Crypt was snowballing to a turn 6 to 8 win with a meaningless drawback, which that seems
Turn
turn six
six
to
to
eight.
eight.
Yeah, that was like okay, so that's the problem we have with
That
Mana Crypt.
turn 6 to 8 win is a problem.
that's, yeah, so um, yeah,
Bro, I can win on turn 6 to 8 without that.
yeah,
I do that at Meneval on Wednesdays because
yeah,
I want to get out of there quickly, and I use Perforos, and
yeah,
like I normally win by turn 6,
right.
and
So
I
and
don't
then
ever cast a Mana Crypt or
yeah.
any kind of fast mana. Wherever I cast my commander on turn 4, and I cast 3 other spells, and it's game over.
Yeah, so not great. And I was like, that's a weird philosophy that you want games to be, going to 9, 10, 11, 12 turns, which whatever, like to each his own. Some people play 50 turns and the only way they ever draw from their deck is by drawing. So when people actually have drawn 50 cards, it means 50 turns have gone by, or whatever. Jeweled Lotus, they were strictly saying that this card is really good at making 5 mana commanders come out on turn 2, which they had a problem with. They were saying this is something that was a problem because a lot of those, like, mainly if you or like, I think the problem with Jewel Lotus is Shieldred. People didn't like, or Tigrid. Tigrid or Shieldred coming down on turn 1 and 2 because it means people can't set up, they're taking damage immediately, and they're just struggling with it. So, yeah, that sucks. I mean, is there any commanders that cost 7+ that will ever be viable? I don't think
Boring
so.
Klex.
Yeah, that one's what, 10 mana, 9 mana. He's up there. He's really high.
I think he's 7 mana.
Oh, is he really?
OG Foreign, or no? Is he? No, he's 8 mana, isn't he?
Yeah,
OG
I think he's green,
Vorinclex.
green, green 5. Yeah, that makes sense. So they didn't like that it was with a lot of these commanders having ward attached to them. They're really hard to deal with in the early game. So when they get out of control, Corvalds, you name it. Mainly the monocolored commanders are the problem because if you're like a tricolor commander, you still have to have 2 sources and a jeweled lotus, which totally possible, but it's a lot harder. Whereas if you're just like a Shieldred, you can go swamp jeweled lotus Shieldred, and people are just right from the get go drawing and taking 2 damage. Like they don't like that. Yeah. Um, and then there's Dockside Extortionist, which is
That was the card
yeah,
that was the most like that card needed to go.
yeah.
That
Everyone
card
knows that.
never should have been created. That card
Yeah,
never should have been created to begin with.
yeah. So people were upset with Dockside ban because in the last time they did like a rules community update, they said specifically that Dockside scales with the competitive level of the game. So if you're CDH, Dockside's way better. If you're not CDH, if you're just casual,
That
Dockside
was
is
a
way worse.
bullshit fucking take
Yeah,
to begin with. No,
it is. It's
that
the
was bullshit.
if Primeval
Like
Titan's
that
bad.
card,
Yeah,
there's like that card would be fair if it said either target opponent
yeah,
or if it said non-token, non-token, non-enchantment or whatever.
yeah,
If it just counted artifacts,
yeah. If it was
non-token artifacts,
right.
then it would be fair. Or if it counted just one player. Otherwise that card's busted. That
Why
card
does a
never
red
should have
card
been.
care about enchantments? It's the one of the weirdest
Right.
like
That's what's
texts.
like
Yeah,
weird. That's the weirdest part about it. Is like, why does it care about enchantments?
yeah,
Why?
yeah.
There's
It's
no flavor for it at all.
yeah, and I always made the argument that I mean, I've had posts about this. The Four Horsemen of EDH, and Dockside was on there, and it's like the rules committee thinks these cards are better than like Iona is better than Dockside, Primeval Titan's better than Dockside. I mean, the list goes on. And like you look at that ban list, you're like, how do you justify any of these? And then lastly, in this thing, and I'm just kind of summarizing this, is they said we're not going to ban Soul Ring. Soul Ring is the elephant in the room, but we have a like it should be banned. However, it is the iconic card of the format, and I think they just can't ban it because it was just like, hey, we've literally printed like for that probably the next 2 years, Soul Ring in every commander deck. We can't have you like because you know how these things are planned out years in advance, like the printing and so forth. They're like, we can't have you structurally hurt our Soul Rings for all these upcoming products because we don't want to have to reimburse people to get the 99th card in their deck or whatever. So that's the real reason. I mean, if you really care about the power level of the format, you would say Soul Ring's out of here too. But you know, there's 2 more years ahead before they can stop printing Soul Rings in commander decks because the 2 years are planned out. So
Once you see that happening, that's when you know that that
yeah,
it's been set in motion. You're like, oh no,
yeah, but
it's happening.
it's an auto include into literally every single commander deck ever. So all right, but again, I think that's they're not. This is where I had the philosophy issue. So what I'll pull up here, and you'll see on the screen, and this is the problem with the philosophy that they have now, where fast mana, like when is that going to change? So these are cards that have the highest salt score on EDH Rec, which Nadu was the third in third place, by the way. Holy crap, did that card skyrocket? But number 1 is Stasis, number 2 is Winter Orb, and number 3 is Nadu. Stasis and Winter Orb, if those things got banned, I don't think anybody would bat an eye. Nobody would lose their shit over that, you know. Same with Nadu. Nobody's upset about it, and it shows the amount of cards on EDH Rec that have them. So about 10,000 for Stasis, 33,000 for Winter Orb, and 18,000 for Nadu. Okay. Now we start moving into saltier cards. Vorinclex. You were right. It was 8 mana. It's green, 6. Which, if you look at Vorinclex, it's a huge commander and it does a really swingy effect. And that's kind of what you should be getting for
Dude, that card.
mana card.
Oh my god, that card sucks.
Yeah. When it comes down, people get frustrated because if you're the guy that, like, the person that takes care of the problem is the one that is punished for the problem because everybody else doesn't have to tap their mana, so they get all their mana back. Whereas you have to time walk yourself when you, I don't know, Wrath of God, and you've spent 4 mana and those are on tap. That is a salt score of 2.88, and it's in 50,000 decks. Armageddon also has a pretty high salt score of 2.83.
I have a objection to Armageddon. I think that salt score is made up.
Sure, it can be. I think it's all like community driven and voted.
I have an Armageddon deck. I've been playing which has every single land destruct mass MLD land destruction, and I make the announcement like this deck has a lot of mass land destruction in it, and I've never been told I can't play it. I've never been told no, that deck sucks. I've had a lot of people saying they really like that deck that I built.
Yeah.
So I don't think that salt score is. I don't think Armageddon's an issue anymore.
It probably isn't.
I think it's like made up and it's held on by one person on the internet, like DDoSing, whatever.
Sure. It's fair. I mean, people that have like land themed decks like Valakut or whatever, they hate Armageddons because basically once you've done, or like the gate decks, once you've gotten rid of that, like you're just completely screwed. So I see that. But then we have Thassa's Oracle, which is 2.8 or 2, which whatever, that's an irrelevant rating, but it's in 160,000 decks that are registered on EDH Rec, which was 20 times more than the previous salt score, like Stasis. Like, people just don't like Stasis because it's a really unfun thing to do, so people rule 0 it out all the time. Fastest Oracle is never ruled 0, and I'm going to say this. Things that say I win the game ruin, I think, the spirit of Commander. I don't play a lot of Commander, but I can tell you this: the idea is to make deals, barters. You are now playing a game of solitaire that no longer includes the other 3 players, and if the other 3 players don't have a way to interact with the stack or the triggered ability, you've eliminated the ideas or the battle, the commitments, or whatever you want to call it in the games to none. But that is so high, and the card holds, it's not a crazy price, but $23. If that's Oracle would it get banned today, it goes down to like a $2 card. Then we have the One Ring, which is a $90 card, and it's in 280,000 decks on EDH Rec. That has a also very high salt score. And by the way, I'm doing these all chronologically in the sense of the top 100. I'm not going to go through obviously all 100, but you can just see the volume of the One Ring. It's an auto include in every single deck. People don't like it.
What do you
Yeah.
think that? Where do you think that card? Do you think that card gets a ban soon?
No.
Also, do you think Armageddon's gonna get a ban soon? Because like that's where I'm at. That's where I wanted to like read with that Armageddon. Is like, are
Well,
they gonna ban it and like do it? Should I sell out of that? I really like that Fallout deck, and it's like yeah, it's like worth. It's like a $400 EDH deck, and like
yeah. The
which
Armageddon's
like
only worth like
$400
$7.
a pretty chunk of change. But I don't want to sell out.
No.
I like that deck, and people like that deck, and like it. But like I guess like banning Armageddon like doesn't kill the deck, but if you get rid of Armageddon and Ravages the War and
Yeah.
all the other ones like Catastrophe.
Right. So what I'm getting at is the cards that the community hate the most, right? The saltiest cards. And they said like people don't like explosive turns with Mana Crypt and people don't like explosive turns with Jewel Lotus. Still haven't cracked that area, right? We're still not there. Ristic Study, Dockside, had the same exact salt score. Ristic Studies in 600,000 decks on registered to EDH rack, meaning that it's almost double because we'll call One Ring 300,000, double the amount of the One Ring, and then Dockside is 340,000 decks. So if Dockside was too good, and these other cards are salty, and people don't like playing against these cards. People don't like this interaction. Like Ristic Study, they pay them one. Talk about one of the most annoying things that happened, right? And then the table has to come to an agreement. Do we all not pay the one, or do we all pay the one? What are we gonna do here? And if anybody breaks that agreement, it just makes it fractures the table and they hating each other. So we have that. Cyclonic Rift, pretty high. That's also in 620,000 decks. And then
I think they get banned.
yeah. You could probably ban that one and people would be happy. But again, that one, I mean, that price tag of that card would be hundreds of dollars if it had a single printing. And then Fierce Guardianship, which is in 390,000 decks. And then Smothering Tide, same exact thing, about 500,000 decks. And then Opposite Agent. These are all chronological for the most saltiest cards. And again, there's no Jeweled Lotus in there. There's no Mana Crypt in there. Nobody was upset. The other two cards are in there. Dockside are in there, and then Nadu are in there, right? And Nadu creates a bad play experience. And that's why that card got banned. So if that's going to be a philosophy issue, Smothering Tithe, Opposition Agent, Cyclonic Rift, Ristic Study, the One Ring, Fast as Oracle, and Armageddon, those also make a pretty, for some, a pretty bad play experience. So and Vorinclex. So where are we on those? Are those up to get banned because Nadu creates a bad play experience, and these things can theoretically make a bad play experience? Is that what the philosophy issue here is? I thought the philosophy was always like, hey, rule zero these things out. Well, they've made the decision to permanently rule zero them. They're gone, and you can't go to your LGS and play these things. I think that's where people are the most upset with the current bannings.
Right.
I
agree.
So this begs the question, like, what cards are safe and what aren't? And because of the backlash, I think they're not touching anything for a while.
I think the smartest thing would be to not touch anything for a while, unless like something really egregious comes out, like another naughty or whatever.
Yeah.
But
which Golos was banned a couple of years ago. I think it was the last ban actually was Golos, and that people weren't really too deep into that card. That was a core set card that was rare. So again, same thing as Nadu.
People just quickly switched to Cody or whatever.
Yeah, they just moved to the next thing. So the question goes, where does the money go? All right, because as you know, Magic, the money's got to go somewhere else. So so right now the current selling rate of a Mana Vault is about 120 to 160. Like that's the range. It hasn't really settled yet.
Jesus Christ! I felt so bad when I saw that. I was like, bro, I did not expect that to happen, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And before that, it was $40 for a Mana Vault. That was the going rate of a Mana Vault. So obviously this is gonna go against their fast mana idea, right? So that because it's able to, this is going to help you turn 2 Shieldred. This is going to help you turn 2 Tigrid, all those problematic commanders that people do not like. So should you be buying into Mana Vault? People need to replace potentially 2 to 3 cards in their deck for sure. So where do you go? And these are.
I feel like any of the decks that have all 3 of those already have a mana. So like
most of them do, but a lot of people. So we're coming up on the holiday season, and a lot of people get their significant others a very nice thing. Let's say,
right,
like Mana
The
Crypt.
amount of
Yeah,
stories I was reading about the like jeweled lotus like gifts or whatever that people got. Like,
yeah,
well, what am I supposed to do with it now?
yeah. There's yeah. I
I
mean,
got this as a wedding gift. Blah 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 blah.
yeah. Like
Like I shouldn't say that when I'm talking about someone's wedding gift.
I'm
Apologies,
not
but
trying to shit
like
on them. I like things happen,
right,
right? But it like there was a little bit like I know you love magic. Here's a sentimental item that you've always talked about.
right,
You know that because you don't want to spend them, but I did for you because I love you. You know, there's
right.
that aspect, but that happens with all cards in Magic. Like if there's something that you go home and like spew off to your wife, like I love Underground Seas. Oh, I can't afford one. She buys the
It's
Underground Seas.
different when it's jeweled lotus though, because like you can't do anything with it anymore.
You
Sorry,
can't.
kid.
Yeah, a card designed for Commander gets banned for Commander. So yeah, so that's where I mean that's where the money's going for Mana Vault. It's shot up so much, and then I just threw in some cards I think are gonna probably go up in value, which Mox Amber, Mox Opal, the One Ring is probably gonna go up in value because people are gonna be like, well, I got this Mana Crypt. I wasn't playing the One Ring, but now I can play the One Ring because I can go trade 1-1 a Mana Crypt for the One Ring. Burgeoning cards like that go up just because people want to do something else fast. And then what's the solution? And I have an Uno reverse card on the screen. I don't think they can reverse the decision.
No, they can't. That would be
Yeah,
the dumbest thing they would ever. That would be even dumber than banning the cards. Would
yeah.
be reversing it. That would
Having
be the dumbest
everybody
thing.
have everybody's
Right. That
collection
would that
tank.
would
Yeah, panic sell,
be
and then
that would make people really mad.
yeah. So TCG Player did a very nice thing. They said people that bought them within like the last 7 days, can return them and get the same store credit that they paid for it and spend that money elsewhere. That was a very nice thing I think TCG Player did. But so the one thing that's funny about that announcement at the very bottom, they said we have another announcement coming in November, and it's going to be in regards to what you can do with silver border cards. And it's like, what the hell? Why would you even tag that in the bottom of this ban
Wait, hang on.
announcement?
There's like a project where they tested all the silver border cards and they're going to tell you which ones you can play with in Commander.
Sure.
That's what it's going to be. Like cuz there's cards that are like silver border that are totally fine.
Yeah, I mean,
It's going to
there's
be any of the ones that are like don't put or it'll be like the ones that do something like
yeah,
not
no
putting things on your
dexterity,
head or
no
whatever.
dancing.
Yeah, no dexterity shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, hey, this is just a weird effect, like that just works in the game, like animate library, I guess, like because then your library is animated and whatever, like those weird cards that you could probably make into a magic card, but can't. So, and then Oracle of the Alpha, I wonder if that one's gonna be legal just because it's a mystery booster pack. If that ends up being legal in
That's got
Commander,
an acorn stamp on it.
isn't that the same as Silver Border?
That's not silver border, it's acorn stamp.
Okay, so they're just going back and referring to Silver Border cards that existed in the past. Okay, fair
Mhm.
enough. Yeah. So if I had to propose a solution, and it's going to seem silly, and I know this has always been talked about, but I think they just need to make 3 official formats, and you can bring
Yeah,
some
it's
sanctity
like
people.
all of this could have been avoided if they just acknowledged CEDH as a separate format.
Yep.
And like yeah, it banned the cards in normal EDH and then just acknowledge CEDH as a format and then you would have been fine.
Yeah.
If people had a home for it.
Yeah, because people sit down. I
And
mean,
I
there's
think it's too late. They should have like it's too late to like do it now because like people have gotten rid of their mana crypts and stuff. That would like be very that would you would make people very mad to announce it now. If you're going to do it, you have to wait like at least a year to
yeah,
announce a official CEDH format.
yeah. So I mean, there's always been the discussion of like precons, battle cruiser, high powered, and CDH. Those are like the 4 like known because during COVID when we were playing online, those were like the tiers that people agreed to play in. Like, hey, this is your battle cruiser format. And I know it can be confusing for shops and so forth, but like there's the rule 0 discussion, and a lot of people that are if you're first getting into EDH, everybody at the table goes like, okay, let's bring out our like EDH players don't just have one deck. I mean, if there are people that just have a singular deck, like, and you're the CDH, like this is my one deck. This is what I crush people with. Like, you're no fun. Get out of here. Most people show up. I mean, Josh, how many decks do you have? 6, 7, 5?
None of those numbers are close to the number that I have.
So you have like 20.
I have
Like,
no idea how many
I
decks.
mean, like, let me rephrase this. If you show up to the Mana Vault with
I
CDH
think I
on
have.
Wednesday, like, how many decks you show
I
up with? Three?
on my yeah, I bring like 3 with me.
Yeah. So you have three built decks that you're not really changing in and out of. So like that's what I mean. Like you have the possibility to build a lot of decks. I don't know if you have just 20 decks lying around, just sleeved up, all ready to go. You could. I don't know.
On my Mox field, I have 9 EDH decks, and that doesn't include any of the precons that I have.
Yeah. So precons is the own thing because it's unmodified, and those are kind of like an agreed format that people play anyways. But for example, like if you were to look at those 9 decks, you could probably separate them from like, hey, this is pretty low power, and this one is the beat. Like this is like my more cutthroat. Maybe not CDH if you have one, great. But if you don't have a CDH, you know where your decks stand power level wise.
I don't know. I think people would call my Eldrazi deck CEDH, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
got bad. It's got bad lands, and it's got very, very bad lands in it. But it
so
does like very. It does like very like powerful things.
yeah. So I think if you wanted, I think you make three formats. You make Commander, which is hey, this is when like people just getting into the format, they buy a precon and they do 10 to 15 upgrades. This is what this format's intended to be. It's kind of more slow, get people to kind of express themselves, find what they like. And you can make a giant ban list, be like, hey, these cards aren't legal here. Like done and done. Like, hey, fast mana, you name it. Things that have I win effects on them, like you just get that out there. The point of this is to learn how to engage in Commander, and that's what that format would be. People love that because you can play some dopey cards. Because a lot of cards that I love, like Thragtusk, Huntmaster of the Fells, like those aren't good at all. But I want a home to be able to Restoration Angel, stupid things that I love to do in Standard. I just know that I would be so ineffective on a table. Then you could go into what I would call you could call EDH, which would be what is known as like a much more powerful format. But it addresses some of the things that the community hates. We'll call it Armageddon, um, or whatever the things that people
Oh
don't
no,
like.
no, do Ristic study, not Armageddon.
Whatever. Ristic Study, same thing. Ristic Study, Dockside.
Let's not demonize Armageddon because I want that card to stay legal.
Fair enough. And there's also like 13 different effects of Armageddon, right? Like
Right.
obliterate or like all So
Ravages of War.
yeah, so those cards would not be allowed in the commander. And then we can call it because they don't want to probably use CEDH, call it DDH, which is degenerate EDH. You just rework that entire ban list and make it so it's like congruent to it, the most competitive thing. And I talked about the CDH. So what people like about CDH and the reason why people don't want it to be different from commanders because they want to be able to have the most optimized version of EDH, and that's like the philosophy of CEDH. So you'd have to rename it to be like DEDH. I don't know. I think you just make
DED.
three formats. People will build. One, people are going to start deck building for three different formats. They're going to be like, here's my this, and here's my this. And people love deck building. It's kind of one of the best things. So it's going to be a thing that people carry on them. People who love going to commander cons, they're going to have five of every style of deck that they love, right?
100%.
And there's going to be no confusion because if we want to talk about confusion, look at a goddamn booster pack that has symbols from different, whatever. We play boosters, value boosters, set boosters. We're not communicating the commander anymore. So, yeah. I hate my dog. She just keeps running down the stairs and just yelling.
Run,
She's
little one, run.
she doesn't want to go to bed. Okay. Last thing to bring up, these leaks. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them, but there's a Black
I have
Panther,
not.
Iron Man.
Oh wait, these leagues. I thought you
Yeah.
said these leagues. I was like,
No,
I
no,
have
no,
not
no, no,
looked at
no.
these leagues.
No. Those are fun. Captain America, the First Avenger, Wolverine, Best There Is, Iron Man, Titan of Innovation, and then Black Panther, Wakandan King. These are rumored to be the things that they're going to be showcasing. Um, showcasing at New York Comic Con. This is an assumption. We don't know this is official, but there's also a Teferi's protection next to it, and they're all in individual sleeves. And the worst part is they're all rubber banded. I don't know why, but this was found on someone's Facebook
Because
market post.
there was like there was a confirmed theft of these promos.
Ah, okay.
These promos were confirmed stolen.
Okay.
like a couple days before.
Gotcha. So, what a bold thing to do to put him on Facebook Market, where
Right, like this guy must be very bold, very bold.
be like, yo, you want to meet up and like in a parking lot where I sell you
Yeah.
stolen product?
And like apparently like researching the guy's profile, he's got like other secret layers too. Like they think he
Yeah.
works at like the fast factory. Like he had the Chucky secret layer and
Yeah.
like he had the baseball secret layers that came out a couple months ago. He had a bunch of the baseballs.
Dude, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? This guy's an
Like
idiot.
these are legit. These are legit from the New
Yeah.
York's Comic Con next month.
So I'm not here to read all the. I'm not here to read all of it, but the
The
only
captain is cool.
which one is
Captain America.
that is the coolest thing,
All
I
right,
think. I really do. I think that
all
one's
right.
so
I think he's the
awesome.
cool one.
And the other three, I could give two shits about. The Captain America, his ability is dope. Throw and catch, which he untaps an
Mhm.
equipment from him, and he deals damage to divided between 1, 2, or 3 guys, or 3 targets, and then it has catch at the beginning of your combat step on your turn. You pick up an equipment attached to him. So I think that's like awesome. I like the idea of him throwing a cauldron complete every turn. So, yeah, these are dope. If you want to read the other abilities, you can. I'm not going to read them on the cast just because I think reading cards can tend to be boring. But these are huge heavy hitters from the Magic universe, and if these are going to be handed out, I can only imagine how much Stoneforge Mystic is going to go up. I don't know. It's one of those cards I always loved.
Nah, Stoneforge just had so many like printings. It was just like a special guest in Thunder Junction.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. But Marvel's a year out. Like at some point in 2025, it's going to be coming out, and I had a little bit of a tinfoil hat there. Is the reason why they banned those powerful cards in EDH is so the powerful cards that get printed in here to replace those cards actually get bought and replaced because those things are too universal. So maybe they'll do a red mana crypt and maybe they'll do a green jeweled lotus. Who knows? Like where they actually are specific. And the only way that people would want to have those is this way. But yeah, yeah. So all right, Josh, get us out of here.
Oh, it's Wednesday, so we're dropping facts and my commander philosophy is make them regret the ban and put something even more busted in your deck. I replaced my mana crypt with an Emrakul, so it is
Right.
Thursday, my dude. Keep it real.
Ruin it. Bye bye. See us in Vegas. Bye.